Hey, I'm Jim Search, and welcome to Understanding Upstate, the podcast dedicated to exploring what makes upstate New York such a unique place. Each week, my co-host Rob Adler and I dive into a new upstate topic to better understand what's up upstate. And this week, we are pouring up a glass of delicious cider, courtesy of the Cider Mill. Ba, 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 ba. Hell yeah. Looking forward to diving into the institution known as the Cider.
I mean, we're headed back to the Southern Tier. Right?
That's right, baby. Endicott, New York.
Boone County,
the 607. Mm-hmm,
Jim, there was a time in our research where I went a little bit crazy because Endicott is... I don't know if I fully grasp it, but correct me if I'm wrong. Endicott exists inside Union. Is that correct?
Yes. So, well, there's the town of Union,
right,
and then there's Endicott.
But Endicott is part of Union, right?
Yes. It's weird.
Yeah.
So, like, and again, any of our Endicott listeners, feel free to ring off if I fuck this up. But there's the town of Union, and then there's the town of Endicott, and then you have the high school, which is Union Endicott, where both of the kids from that town would go to Union Endicott.
Got it. And I forget what other smaller towns exist inside Union, but there's like a few. It's a union of small towns. Effectively,
it's a working union.
But yeah,
it's the local 607. It's the union.
Sure. But yeah, the reason I bring this up is because I was trying to figure out the origins of the cider mill, and depending on the resource, sometimes it was referencing a location in Union and other times Endicott. And I was like, well, if it's in Union, I guess that's a different thing. Then I did more research. It's like, oh, Endicott is in Union. And depending on how you want to promote your business, you might use the larger principality of Union, or later on, it's just referred to as being in Endicott. But yeah, you know what? I learned a little bit more about the region, which I'm surprised. We've talked about Endicott and Triple Cities a lot, and I can't believe 2 years in is what I'm learning about Union. That's pretty crazy.
Listen, you know what? We're a work in progress here. Yeah. Right? We are slowly learning, and it's a process. This is totally a process here. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that is again. I'm sure we'll have somebody let us know the exactness of this. But
hey, you know what process I'm also a fan of? It's the process of rating and reviewing podcasts, Jim. And that's what you, our listeners, should do. Throw us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or wherever you may listen to your podcasts. That helps us out a ton. Also, write us a positive review, and in that positive review, you can throw a suggestion for a future episode. If you want an episode on understanding Union, New York, we might not do it because I don't know how much meat is on that bone, because it splits up into the smaller towns, and then it's a different episode, Jim. So I don't know. So throw us something else as a suggestion, so we don't have to do understanding Union.
Right.
And then again, it'll be a big help. Also, we have t-shirts. We've talked a lot about these tees. Go grab them while you can. They are available at understandingupstate.printful.me. I think.
Yes, understandingupstate.printful.me is the website.
There we go.
Sure.
Go grab those, and get yourself some merch. They're pretty cool tees.
Yeah, pick up a tee for the new year, man. Yeah. Like, step in correctly. You want to put your best foot forward at work. Wear the t-shirt to work.
Sure.
You have a big presentation coming up at work. You want to crush it.
You're asking for that raise,
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. You're on that job interview and they're like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? You say, wearing this t-shirt, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's how you get
It's
that
a nice
done. And of
heavyweight
course-
tea. It will last 5 to 10 years. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
And if anything, buy more than
There
one.
you go.
One to rock, one to stock.
There you go.
You know? And also, of course, email us understandingupstate@gmail.com. That is a good place to send any of your glowing accolades you'd like to shower us with. We'd love to hear it.
I would like to hear the Upstate update that you have, Jim.
Well, before I do that, Rob, you know what I need.
It's the first one of 2026. Are we ready?
I better be.
There we go.
There it is.
The Upstate
That's the pepper.
update sting.
Bong. Yes. So, listeners, as you may or may not know, I host a very awesome 90s, early 2000s hip hop trivia night over at Beer Wax in Brooklyn, New York, called Trivmatic. It is a very dope experience, I would say, if you are a fan of that era. Even if you're not, it's still a fun time. Anyway, post trivia, I'm chopping it up with some of the folks that were playing. Gentleman by the name of Dom, we're talking, and all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, I have ties in upstate New York," and I immediately go on. I am here to listen to this. And he's like, "I am from Buffalo, New York." And I said, "My friend, we have talked about Buffalo so much on this
extensively.
podcast." Yeah. And I, of course, plug our podcast. And we talk a lot about music upstate, talked a lot about Griselda. Dom was in Buffalo during the time of the rise of Griselda, which is pretty dope to hear.
Talk about Grover Washington Jr.? Huh?
We didn't quite get
right.
there.
Hey, you know
We
what? Save it for next conversation. There you go.
Sure. But what we did get into quite a bit was Rod Serling, because during trivia, I shouted out the 607, shouted out Rod Serling, and Dom's friend Chris was like, "Hey, I noticed you mentioned Rod Serling," and I was like, "Well, buddy."
Sure.
Here's the vibes. here's what you're about to get yourself into is a long and we talked a lot about the Twilight Zone, which, if you're listening to this, the marathon has just passed. Hopefully you watched it.
Sure.
And also, it was really dope. Dom threw out a very awesome gem that I was really happy to hear, and he brought up how Rod layered the show with the sci-fi genre because of the political messaging that he had on the show. And he brought that up, and I was like, holy shit, yes, he did. And there's also a very, very profound quote that Rod said, which was that a robot can say something that a Democrat and a Republican can't.
Sure.
Right. Which was his
gem
as to what led us into that. So yeah, it was a very dope conversation. Again, upstate, much like Bucktown, is everywhere. You look, you will find upstate New York.
There you go.
And that, my friends, is our upstate update.
Lovely. You love to hear it. Well, I'm excited to talk about some cider.
Goodness.
You're a fan of a sour beer. How do you feel about a cider? Which is you can get a soury. We're talking alcoholic ciders, but you can get like a sharp cider. Is that in the same wheelhouse for you?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like I'm not the biggest boozer these days. However, when it comes to like a cider, look, I'm an upstate kid, man.
Sure.
Like, cider, visiting the cider mill we'll talk about it in a little bit, but having some cider, having some donuts was part of the upstate world that you live in if you're from the 607. So yeah, I fuck with cider, apple cider.
Sure.
Heavy. I'll get into it. Not a lot, like shit ton of sugar in it.
Yeah.
So like I'm not going to be shotgunning cans of apple cider, but I certainly would not turn down a glass should it be provided at the cider mill.
I think
especially at the cider
I'd
mill.
much rather have apple cider than apple juice. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
man.
you're over the age of 7.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
You're a fully functioning adult. So therefore I feel like apple juice might you don't need to do that, bro.
We drink orange juice. What the fuck's the difference? I know I'm coming back at it from a different angle, but
well, you know what? That's a great question, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like, this is, folks, we're in a little bit of a rabbit hole, but we'll jump out. I promise you. It is interesting, right? Because orange juice doesn't really catch a lot of flack as apple juice does. Not sure what that is, but again, if you were to go to brunch and you're like, you know what, let me just get a glass of orange juice or something, start the day.
I think it's the fresh squeezed nature, right? If we were at if you're at a brunch spot, you're like, hey, it's a little weird, but we have fresh squeezed apple juice. It'd be like, let's fucking try it. Let's go. Let's do it. Why not? Leave the seeds in. Seed in apple juice.
Yes, that's how it.
Pulpy.
Yeah, when I blow the fuck up and become the eccentric performer that I've been destined to be, I will ask for seed in apple juice. Or I'm not.
Yeah.
You won't even hear me breathe on a microphone unless I don't get fucking my
Yeah, what's the point?
Apples.
What's the point?
I'm not doing it.
There you go.
All right, folks. We'll jump out of the rabbit hole.
Sure.
And we'll come back to the history of the cider mill.
Let's do it.
So, for nearly a century, the cider mill in Endicott, New York, has stood as a cherished community landmark since 1926. I can testify to that. As a kid growing up, certainly there was many a plenty trips to the cider mill for cider, donuts, and general vibes. It is a tradition. It is a symbol of tradition, quality, and seasonal delight nestled in the rolling hills of the southern tier. In 1942, the Ciatoli family took ownership, ushering in a new era of family-run dedication and care. One of the most defining moments in the history occurred on a cold winter night in 1972, when a devastating fire swept through the building, reducing it to ashes. But yet, like a phoenix, the powerful testament to strength of bold family and community, the cider mill was rebuilt within the very same year, which, from a construction perspective, is pretty fucking impressive, I must say.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the Amish can raise a barn in a day, Jim. I don't know.
I don't know, man. Listen, within a year, building a...
Sure. No,
I'm gonna give it up to that. Rising from the embers stronger than ever, the new mill quickly became a beloved gathering place. Not just for longtime patrons, but also for visitors from across the region, and I'd even offer around the world. Take it worldwide.
Why not?
All drawn by its welcoming atmosphere and timeless offerings. It does give, for those who have not been to the cider mill, right? If you have been driving on a roadside, or driving down a road and you see a farmer's market on the roadside, and you stop and they've got pies and just tchotchkes and shit for sale. A lot of that energy.
Love it.
Yeah. Sure. It's like Cracker Barrel, but not as polarizing.
Yeah.
So, jumping back in 2025, the Burke family, with strong ties to the Binghamton community, purchased the mill. They immediately recognized the cider mill had become far more than just a place to buy cider. It was a true destination where generations came together to enjoy the simple pleasures of life. From the first crisp apples of fall to the last warm cider donut of the season, every visit is steeped in nostalgia and warmth. Building on the solid foundation, the Burkes also added exciting new offerings, including a specialty retail section, ice cream, single portion baked goods, coffee, and more. Look at the cider mill getting all fun and fancy here.
And later on we'll talk about the Ciatoli's stewardship of the mill, and then also the original owners, which is why I was diving into Union, New York.
Sure.
As we talked about earlier.
Your dedication, man. It's fucking right.
It's true.
Today, the cider mill remains a living celebration of the tastes, smells, and traditions of fall in upstate New York. It does go pretty hard in autumn, I must say. If you drive up, you drive through the hills, you see the leaves change. Oh, yeah. You know, you got on your hoodie, you jump out, have a warm donut. You are nothing better than that.
And it's none of the pesky apple picking.
Right.
You're just at one spot, you're buying the thing and consuming it. You don't have to there's no labor involved.
No, the only labor is taking money out of your wallet or purse or pocketbook if you're in upstate New York to purchase the mentioned goods.
Love it.
Each autumn, thousands make their annual pilgrimage to enjoy the signature apple cider, pressed fresh and bursting with natural flavor. A mouthwatering assortment of old-fashioned goodies perfectly complements that same crisp, sweet cider. From warm, cinnamon-dusted cider donuts to hearty apple pies, sweetbreads, and other seasonal treats, every bite is a reminder of simple times and the comfort of home. The cider mill continues to write its legacy, one steeped in resilience, community spirit, and the enduring beauty of fall in upstate New York. Man, what a journey one will go on. I'm serious, man. You go up there October, early November, you're gonna feel the feels, as they say. Now,
sure,
we talked a lot about what is for sale there, but I think it's important that we dive a little bit deeper into what is available at the cider mill. Rob, what do they got for us?
Let's talk about it. So, of course, we're going to have New York State apples, Jim. Let's learn a little bit more. Without orchards of our own, the cider mill has the unique freedom to source the best apple varieties as they come into season. This flexibility allows them to buy from where the crop is at its peak, ensuring top quality year after year. As a result, they make premium cider and the finest selection of fresh picked apples for eating, baking, or preserving from the Cider Mill farm stand. And I didn't know this, but there's cider apples and then there's eating apples. I think ultimately an apple is an apple, but your Honey Crisp is going to taste different from your Macintosh and whatnot. But there's different varieties that are better suited to different purposes, which makes sense. But I wouldn't have thought that for cider. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't think the Burke family is going to appear if you eat a cidered apple. I think you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. All right, let's talk about this cider and slushies. Okay. Cider Mill cider. That's redundant. Cider Mill cider is a naturally refreshing beverage made from freshly pressed apples. Starting in August with the sweet, mellow flavors of early varieties. As the season progresses, the taste evolves into the rich, full-bodied tang of late ripening apples. Since 2016, the cider has been processed using UV light, a safe alternative to pasteurization that preserves fresh flavor while meeting safety standards. Give me the pasteurization.
Man, you want to roll the dice? You want to roll the dice on that one, man?
I'll take pasteurization.
Okay.
Feels like less of a dice roll than UV, but I digress. Candy apples, Jim. We got candy apples. At the cider mill, only the finest fresh eating apples are selected, cored, and firmly set on stout wooden sticks before dipping in rich premium syrups. Candy apples come in 7 classic varieties: caramel, cherry, cinnamon, grape, lime, strawberry, and raspberry. Fact! They cover up imperfections. Each cider mill candy apple starts with a top quality, unblemished apple, ensuring a crisp, healthy bite beneath every sweet coating. So I guess they're saying other other unscrupulous
Correct.
mills may be using their less than premium apples for their caramel.
And
apples.
just you reading this gave me the wild flashback of these Cider Mill candy apples because they fucking rip pretty hard, man.
Dude,
like,
I haven't had a caramel apple in a long time.
The candy apples, they know what they're doing. I'm gonna put it to you like that.
I mean, yeah, I've only rather my preferred candied apple is caramel with peanuts.
Okay.
It's a good, and ideally that's a green apple too.
Right.
I would say, but I don't know how. I feel like a lime apple would be weird, but I'd try it.
You give it a shot.
I would try it.
You wouldn't say no.
I think I would. No, I mean, the problem with a candy apple is you're getting one. You're only getting one.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're not doing multiple. So I don't know if I'd want to blow my candy apple on a lime or a strawberry. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I
tough.
was going to say, like, I would, because like, I feel like for my palate, my taste palate, like, I could do like a strawberry apple or a raspberry apple because like they're in like that kind of like sugary universe that I wouldn't be like, it's not too conflicting. Like I could see, I can understand where your heart is on the lime apple, right?
Yeah.
However, like strawberry, cherry, raspberry, even cinnamon, like,
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could fuck with that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk donuts, Jim.
Sure.
They've got
diamonds to donuts. Let's go.
There you go. Old-fashioned cake batter donuts are delightfully irregular in shape. Crisp on the outside. It's a feature, not a bug. The regularity is a feature. Crisp on the outside, tender on the inside, and absolutely delicious. They call them imperfect perfection. Daily flavors include plain, cinnamon, and powdered sugar. Weekday only flavors, Monday through Friday, chocolate peanut, maple, and maple walnut. I would go out of my way to get maple walnut.
Okay.
Fact: our donuts are made fresh throughout the day, never reheated or left over.
Love it. Toss them.
Cookies.
Get rid of them.
Let's go. Yeah, no, you can't. Or like, have them at 50% off at the end of the day, you know? Bakeries don't really do that much anymore around here, but like, you used to go to the bagel store close to closing time, but like, take everything for $1.
Right.
Like, yes, I will.
Like,
I have a toaster. I can make this work.
Yeah, it's not in your business model to keep these, but I'm not a bakery, so let's go.
Yeah. All right, so we got some cookies, baked fresh daily, of course, and ranging from classic favorites to seasonal specialties. Each batch is made with high-quality ingredients for a homemade taste. They, of course, have pies. They're baked also fresh every day in a variety of flavors, offering the perfect balance of flaky golden crust and rich, flavorful fillings.
Delicious.
We're making some bread, too. Baked every day. Seems to be a bit of a theme.
Sure.
Each made with high quality ingredients for a warm homemade taste. Guys, you got to differentiate your copy for your cookies, your pies, and your bread. It's a little, I get it.
Sure.
I get it. Baked fresh each day. Let's see. I mean, just coming from rising from the ashes like a phoenix to like, now we're running out of steam a little bit.
I threw in rising. I threw in the phoenix.
That was you.
That was
wow.
me, man. That was your good friend right here.
Oh man, I was. This makes more sense. I was like, wow, that whoever wrote this was inspired, and it's true, but it was you.
And imagine if I actually took time to write it. That was just off the top of the head, man.
Oh, sure.
Imagine that.
There you go. We got cheese. We got cheeses, of course. A variety of contrasting flavors: sweet and sour, tart and salty, sweet and dry, or sweet and sharp. Available by the pound, sharp cheddar. Fact! It took years of searching before the Cider Mill found a source for top quality, perfectly aged cheddar, crafted in round wooden boxes. It took them years? Years. Wow, I want to be on that team.
Listen, they said they had to kiss a lot of frogs to get to that to get there, man. Lots of frogs.
What the fuck was the criteria? There's a story there.
Yeah.
I want to know it.
I want in.
I'm gonna write them an email. All right. No farm stand is complete without pumpkins, though, Jim. Is what I would argue. These pumpkins are sourced.
I'd love to see who's arguing against you on that.
Sure.
Anyway,
I'll go down to the farmer's market and just start picking fights.
Prove me wrong. Sit outside. Prove me wrong.
Sure. All right. These pumpkins are sourced from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Boo. Maybe pumpkins don't grow well in New York. I don't know. They're perfect for carving or decorating. Not for pies? The fuck? All right.
Not these ones. Not these ones.
I guess
man.
not. Well, Jim, if I'm not mistaken, a key feature of the Cider Mill is the Cider Mill Playhouse. Let's learn about it.
Yes, I mean one of the artistic institutions in the 607 is in fact the Cider Mill Playhouse, and we're going to talk a little bit about it. The Cider Mill Playhouse in Endicott, New York, was a professional theater that produced comedies, dramas, and musicals. It was a member of the Theater Communications Group and operated as a small professional theater, level 5, by the annual contract with Actors Equity Association. This is the real deal Holyfield, man. So, do a little bit of the history. In the early 1970s, Binghamton University professor Dr. John Bielenberg began searching for a location for theater students to practice off campus. Dr. Bielenberg and colleagues found the Cider Mill, an apple warehouse on South Nanticoke Ave in the village of Endicott. Orlando Ciotoli agreed to let the university make use of his barn during slow summer months, and a partnership was formed. In 1991, funding for the university was withdrawn. The Cider Mill Playhouse was then incorporated as a 501c3 charitable organization in 1992. After operating as a semi-professional theater for many years, the Cider Mill Playhouse became an, quote, equity house, unquote, professional theater known as Cider Mill Stage as of December 21st, 2015, under the artistic leadership of Gail King Bellacourt. In late 2017, the theater company lost its lease on the property and announced it would dissolve as a nonprofit. Dun, dun, dun. Oh. Now, what productions went up there? That is the question you're asking. Speedy Freaks and Rattlesnake Pete's, we got you covered. Don't you dare worry about that. The early productions included Company, Sleuth, Night Must Fall, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, haha, Of Mice and Men, Whose Line Is It Anyway, Da, Agnes of God, South Pacific, A Raisin in the Sun, Equus, The Last Meeting of the Knights of the White Magnolia, and others. The professional nature of the theater was all important to us, recalled Dr. John Bielenberg, now retired BU Theater Department Chairman. The students were able to work with professionals whom we hired as actors and directors in an atmosphere that they would find in their theater careers. A Christmas Carol. Cider Mill mounted an annual production of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Starting in 1982, Cider Mill Playhouse produced its own musical version of the story, which was copyrighted by founder John Bielenberg. After many years and revisions, the final version of this production was produced in 2015. Beginning in 2016, a new adaptation was produced to address copyright issues that had developed. Whoops. This version expanded the cast to include a combination of paid professionals and in a volunteer community ensemble.
I've just looked up what that copyright issue was.
Yeah.
And it's because at least the version they staged used music from the 1970 movie Scrooge. So there's the song "Thank You Very Much."
Right.
That probably, I don't know, that version of the movie or a version of Christmas Carol rather, but. Yeah, sounds like it was written for that film and it's since been used on stage, in staged versions.
Sure.
So they swapped that out for an original song composed, "Hey Ho, It's Christmas," which is then used 3 times in the show. So now I thought it'd be more interesting.
Yeah, thought we were gonna get into some real gnarliness, but
also like it's an old ass like public domain story. I assume, Charles Dickens. It's gonna be public domain. So like copyright issue. How could there be any?
The Dickens estate rose from the dead and said, "We gonna solve this." Well, let's talk about the final season, 2016 to 2017. Here's what ran there. When in Carthage by Santino D'Angelo from September 15th to October 2nd. Baskerville, a Sherlock Holmes mystery by Ken Ludwig, October 27th to November 13th. The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde, January 26th to February 12th. Peter and the Starcatcher, March 9th to March 26th. The Drowsy Chaperone, June 1st to the 19th. Pump Boys and the Dinettes, August 3rd to the 19th.
Did you ever see a production at the Cider Mill Playhouse?
I feel like I have like hazy memory of it. Like I couldn't tell. Like I was a young.
Sounds like you may have been a drowsy chaperone.
Hey, well, hopefully I wasn't a chaperone if I was drowsy. But I feel like as a younger Jim Jam, there was some theater that was in my life. My mom and sister were big into theater, and I would get dragged along for this endeavor as well. So, I feel like I've been there. Definitely been there for donuts. Definitely been there for donuts and cider. You kind of have to. You have to as a 607er.
I feel like you have to have cider donuts and cider available at intermission. Right? Right?
You would think.
Oh my God. Like, what a fantastic proposition to get your kid to go to a show who I don't want to go to the theater. There's donuts at intermission, buddy.
Sure.
Yay!
I'm assuming
that would have gotten me to the theater.
I'm assuming it was that easy as well.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's how that conversation
went. It would have been for me.
Sure.
I know that much.
Okay.
For sure. You get your own bag of donuts at intermission? I don't know.
Say less, fam. Say less.
I don't know. Maybe that's why there's a Krispy Kreme down in Times Square, Broadway. So getting very inside baseball for
sure
for New York City in 2012, but it might still be there. I don't know. Who knows? What I do know is that there was a rebrand.
Sure,
Jim.
Let's
much like Cracker Barrel, which was referenced earlier. There was a rebrand.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's learn about it, shall we?
Let's talk about it.
All right, so the legacy of the Cider Mill Playhouse also flourishes through the performing arts. And founded in 1976 by Dr. John Beilenberg as an extension of the Binghamton University Theater program, the Cider Mill Playhouse continues to thrive today as Blast/Cider Mill Stage, bringing high-quality live performance to the community. What Blast stands for, I don't know. I assume Binghamton... something or other theater.
Yeah.
This December, a beloved holiday tradition returns with Dr. Beilenberg's heartwarming adaptation of A Christmas Carol production that has graced our stage for over 40 years, which is cool. Yeah, it sounds like what they stage is their own unique version of it, which is cool.
Yeah. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I like that.
All
right, Jim.
Throw a little Speedy reference in there.
Oh my God.
You know?
Quick,
Dude.
Run to the store and get the biggest Speedy you can.
Get the Lupo's marinade at once. Post haste.
Oh man, I would and donuts at intermission. It's the perfect outing.
It's a perfect thing, right?
It really is. Well, you know how they do like modernized versions of like Shakespeare plays,
Of course.
Whatnot. They should really do the Speedy version of A Christmas Story.
I mean,
The updated and localized version.
I could get down for that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who would. We've talked about like some curmudgeons from the area. I feel like who would play Scrooge? Who would be the Scrooge?
Man, I mean, there's so much local talent. How do you even pick at this point?
No, like I mean, who would the character be based off of? I mean, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. I don't know, man.
I feel like there's some unscrupulous business owners we've talked about before that
I mean,
maybe we shouldn't mention by name.
I don't know. You could pick a Rockefeller. I feel like that would be
that's true. That's true.
That'd be
I like it.
Nice pick there.
There we go. That works. Well, you know what, Jim? We've got a full year to work on this.
Sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'll come up with it for ourselves.
Holiday season 2026.
There we go. I like it. What I also like is when we have reviews for an establishment and we characteristically have 5-star and 1-star because that's all you get. There's nothing in the middle. It's 1 or 5, all or nothing.
As referenced on the classic comedy album Upstate Understandings, there's no 3-star reviews. We're either going that's 5 true. Or 1. This is true.
Well, let's start off with a 5-star review from Tom C. It was edited a year ago. We don't know the original posting date.
This is the redacted review. Yeah, there. All right.
Mm-hmm. All right. The Cider Mill in Endicott, New York, has been a landmark since 1926. I don't know how true that is. We'll get into it. The best apple cider in the area. The donuts are good. The apple pies are always good. They also have a selection of other pie flavors. Okay, multiple pie flavors. They have a nice selection of candy apples. When they have them, pumpkins are always popular for Halloween carving. You can also watch the donuts and cider being made. Oh yeah, that is a key. That is an integral part, I feel like, to attending a mill. They also have a stage and put on shows during the season. You know what? Tom just did everything we have taken about 40 minutes to do.
Knocked it out in a paragraph. Yeah. But is he us? Is he the podcast?
That's true.
He's not.
He's not. Well, let's swing to a lengthy 1-star review from a year ago by Aaron. 0 stars for customer service today. I called to see if it would be possible to pre-order over the phone for my medical office, as I would have to have administration in Syracuse pay with their card. I was immediately met with attitude and told about online ordering. When I tried to explain, I was laughed at and told that the order didn't need to be pre-ordered because it would take them 2 seconds to fill. I was also then hung up on. I'm very disappointed as I have always enjoyed the Cider Mill. I will no longer be going there or to the Playhouse after being treated like that. Treat and talk to people the way you would like to be treated. That's the golden rule, Jim.
It is.
And that is not how you treat other human beings and is the worst customer service experience I have ever encountered. I mean, if that's the worst experience you've ever encountered customer service-wise, like, you're doing okay. Doesn't sound like a pleasant one, but...
So you feel like there should be 2 stars? This doesn't give you.
I'm just saying, Erin is living a good life if that's her worst customer service experience. You know what I mean? I feel like I've had worse than being told just come in.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Well, this does raise the question of like, I mean, I don't know if I'm victim blaming here.
Sure.
But like, I would love to have heard the conversation in full.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
It's hard to. We don't know if we have reliable narrators. Right. Right.
Like, I understand where you're coming from as far as like, is this as she's framing this doesn't feel like a slam dunk, but again, this also is Aaron's.
It doesn't sound pleasant. Certainly doesn't sound like the happiest customer service encounter. I would probably leave this phone call a bit miffed.
Sure.
But I also wouldn't write off Cider Donuts and Play Productions for the rest of my life. Just be like, oh, that didn't go well. I guess I'll just go get the donuts.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Could Aaron, could Aaron have returned? Maybe. I don't know. Is a review set in stone? She said she's never coming back, but could she possibly? Mm-hmm. That's it. That exists. But we also don't want to minimize Aaron's lived experience here.
No, that's true.
She didn't want to get fucking laughed at.
Yeah.
Said, you know what?
Oh, I forgot that she was laughed at. You know what? Yeah, that's a little fucked up.
Yeah, you don't.
It's not great. That's not great. All right. You know what? I take it back.
Like you.
Fuck the Cider Mill.
Fuck this place. I think though, like, yeah, you can laugh at people, but you can't really do it in like a professional setting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
good. Unless you're a comedian on stage.
Sure. Sure. Which,
perhaps the only acceptable way for that to happen
is for me to laugh at someone in the audience. Right.
Oh, that too.
But
I meant more the other way, but.
I mean, listen, there's been people who have made me laugh while I'm on stage. And that's pretty funny. But you don't, in a true, like, business setting, it is generally frowned upon, especially in a customer service realm. Yeah. You don't want to laugh at the customer. That doesn't necessarily bode well, I would say, as far as that goes. You don't want to do that. Well, we've got 2 more reviews, right? And we've got, again, Tyler coming in with our 5-star. Great place to visit. The customer service was outstanding, and you can tell how proud they all are of what they produce. One of the best fresh off the fryer donuts I've had as well. It was cool to see them press the juice from the apples. I will definitely come back if I'm in the area again. Damn. Tyler, you spoke to Tyler. You spoke to his sensibilities here. Well, as the pendulum swings one way, Rob, it's got to swing back the other, man. Mm-hmm. That's how the world is. You can't please everybody. Somebody's going to have something to say, like Christina. And Christina, who gave us a 1-star about 3 months ago, said,
peak time to be at the cider.
Sure. This is their busy season.
Yeah.
1 star. I'm guessing someone bought the cider mill. They didn't keep anything the same, which is super weird. The donuts tasted like 2-day-old donuts that you buy at the grocery store. Fact.
They are made day of.
This is where a good fact check would come in, right? Right. This is not true, Christina, as evidenced by how they produce their donuts. Nothing was the same, not the taste, not the texture. The Cider Mill was known for how great their donuts were. Their candy apples, which I didn't see any. It was replaced with merchandise. Even cider was not the same. Very big disappointment. Truly sad when that has been there for so long. I won't be going back. Now, here's the thing, folks. You can say what you want on these Google reviews, but the business can respond. And we do have a reply to Christina from the Cider Mill. Nothing has changed with the Cider Mill other than we added stuff to it. So then something changed, by the way. Mm-hmm. What? That I'm throwing a flag on that one, guys. I'm sorry. Out of journalistic integrity. There were candy apples when you came. They were located in the cooler between the door and the counter. Sometimes you just have to ask. Oof.
Yikes.
Donuts haven't changed at all. They are made all day long and never used the next day. Fact. Donut size and texture changes based on the weather. We unfortunately are in a barn with no heat or air or climate control. Donuts vary each day, such the phrase we use imperfect perfections. We apologize they weren't up to your standards. I don't know, man. I don't know how sorry you are. As for cider, it's a delicious blend of 3 different apples. Again, we apologize it wasn't up to your standards. You are the first complaint on it, so we didn't realize it was bad.
I mean, admitting that it's bad.
I think, as in reading this and just kind of using what we're doing here, I do sense a bit of condescension from the cider mill owner.
Oh, sure. Sometimes you just have to ask.
Sometimes you have to ask. You know, starting off, nothing has changed with the cider mill other than.
I mean, it sounds like the cider has changed. That was a very kind of political answer, I would say. Donuts haven't changed, but
other than we added stuff to it. Well, motherfucker, it did change.
But as for the cider, it's a delicious blend of 3 different apples. That's not saying that the cider recipe hasn't changed, right? That's just saying it's a delicious recipe of 3 apples. I think the cider's different, Jim.
Yeah, me too.
Now, is different bad? No. I think it's just different.
It's just different is different, man. It's up to the viewer, man. It really is.
It's true. It's true. Well, what's not up to the viewer is history, Jim, which is kind of a not factual statement, but I dug into the history. It's the only transition I had. I dug in more into the history of the cider mill and its original stewards. Just uncovered some more kind of local history, which was fun to dig into. Because again, the Ciatoli family, they owned it for quite some time. They bought it in 42 and just sold it in 25. That's a long run. It's a nice long run. But it was started by someone else before that. So let's kind of dig into these 2 owners. Before the most recent change of ownership this past year, now that this episode's coming out in 2026. Shall we learn, Jim?
Let's go. Let's get into it, man.
All right. So the cider mill was originally owned by a local businessman named Harry Stevens. Went down a pretty big rabbit hole learning about him and what he did in the area. He ran this business called the Stevens Implement Company at 2 Nanticoke Avenue? Nanticoke?
Yeah.
All right. And this again is in Union, Endicott, depending on once you get feel like in past the 50s, it's just referred to as Endicott. Pre-50s, people are calling it Union for whatever reason. And this guy did a lot with this plot of land. He had a couple different businesses. Primarily, though, the Stevens Implement Co. They sold cars. This is 1920, so it's like Model Ts and shit. One car I found them advertising was the Durant Star. Never heard of it. Never heard of that. But basically, cars so old they look like they could be pulled by horses. They look like carriages that had a motor jammed in them, basically. He also ran a lumber yard on the location simultaneously, but that split off to Baxter Lumber Co. in 1919. And then by 1925, this had become the Beach Lumber Company, though it seems he still owned the mill. So this mill started off as a cider mill in 26. At some point, it transitions to a lumber mill. We don't really know when, but again, we'll get there. We'll get there.
We're gonna get there.
But again, this plot of land, basically, he has a couple different businesses running there, and periodically sells businesses off and kind of parcels out part of this lot. As he sells the business, he sells that plot of land. I assume. I don't think he's collecting rent on the, on the land. Even built a house on the like
Right.
on the avenue portion and sold that off. And he sold gas and oil, but I think the main thing they were doing there was selling farm equipment. And so the cider mill was just kind of one of these many business ventures that Harry Stevens was, trying out with what he was doing at 2 Nanticoke. And let's see. So he started it in 26, which is a weird time to start a cider mill, Jim, because we're in the middle of Prohibition.
We are.
Cider is famously in the United States was like one of the number one beverages back 150 plus years at that point, and had slowly waned in popularity. And at the time he's making his cider mill, cider is at an all-time low in popularity. It's like the least popular it's ever been.
You want to fish where the fish are.
Yeah. But obviously there's a lot of orchards in the state, so it's not totally unfounded, but it's kind of a crazy time to start it. One, it's just not as popular as it was. And two, there's sweet ciders, there's non-alcoholic ciders, but the way the laws were written during Prohibition, it made it very difficult or worrisome to mass produce cider. There was you could make up to 200 gallons for yourself or something like that.
For personal use. Personal
use, but beyond that, you couldn't do it. And what happens when you press cider is it immediately starts to ferment, basically. And within 2 to 3 days, it would be past the legal limit at that point of 0.5% alcohol content. So was the government going to come after people for pressing cider? Maybe, probably not. But a lot of places deemed it wasn't worth the risk to continue making cider. I think probably pivoted to juice and other things like that. So again, this is in the middle of Prohibition. Prohibition, I think, started in 20, went to 1933.
Right.
Again, a weird time to do this, but it's still, it's cool.
Bold
it's
choice.
Indeed. Let's see. So continuing on, so in the 30s, Anthony Ciatoli Sr. saw the property at 2 Nanticoke Avenue and thought it was the perfect place to expand his oil distribution business and also enter into the lumber industry. There were, again, Stevens had sold off a lumber company, and there was also another lumber company, I think Endicott Lumber, that was operating on that plot of land at 2 Nanticoke. They had a separate yard. So just a lot of industry. It's also right along the railroad track, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a good industrial location, particularly for lumber or coal and oil and stuff. So there was a lumber business on the property that Ciatoli acquired, and it just so happened there's also an old mill, which, again, the dates on all this are kind of hazy. We'll get into that in a second. At this point, whether he knew it or not, he just got himself a cider business, according to one interview, because in 1942, quite a few years later, Anthony's son Orlando restored the mill to its original purpose, pressing apple cider. So just to kind of triangulate dates a little bit more, I dived into the newspaper archives, and that's kind of informed of a lot of what I just recounted.
Right.
But coming from the Endicott Daily Bulletin, July 25th, 1938, mill burglarized.
Uh-oh.
Harry Stevens of 2 Nanticoke Avenue reported to the police this morning that his cider mill had been burglarized sometime between Friday night and this morning. Entrance was gained by smashing out a rear window, according to Sergeant Nicholas Cordileone and Patrolman Harold. What did they escape with? We will never know.
I don't know what, because there's no I guess equipment, perhaps.
But cider presses are big as shit. Did they just steal apples? I guess they could have stolen cider.
How do you like them apples? What's for you, Rob?
I like that joke.
Oh, good. Thank you, man.
Nice.
I fuck with him.
Nice reference. So that's in 38. And again, according to the Ciatoli family, in the 30s, they acquired the mill. So in this bulletin, the mill is still owned by Stevens in 38. So it's like probably somewhere in 38, 39, Stevens sold it off. And I found another article from 1947. So this is after, well after the mill has been sold, but it's an interesting look at the legacy of Stevens and the cider mill. It's again 1947, Endicott Daily Bulletin, February 26th. Stockholder sues to get building back.
Well,
because this was a corporation, so there were stocks involved. Stocks and stakes. Charging misconduct, Miss Goldie L. Noyes of 12 South Liberty Avenue, acting in behalf of herself and other stockholders of the Stevens Implement Corporation located at 105 Nanticoke Avenue, has brought suit in Broome Supreme Court to have declared illegal conveyance of the company property and for other relief. In her suit, Miss Noyes names Miss Daisy W. Stevens individually and as executant of the estate of her husband, Harry F. Stevens, who died on November 11th, 1946, and certain directors of the company whom she is unable to name at this time. She sets forth in her complaint, prepared by attorney John D. O'Laughlin, that the corporation was organized in 1921 to deal in farm implements and merchandise. The capitalization was set at $50,000, made up of 3,500 shares of preferred and 1,500 shares of common stock, all of $10 value. All of the stock was issued, she claims. Head of firm, Mr. Stevens was president of the company until his death in 1925. Miss Noyes. So this all was done slightly before the mill was created, right?
Right.
Mr. Stevens was president again until his death. In 1925, Miss Noyes alleges she became owner of 80 shares of the company stock, which she surrendered for 40 shares on June 18th, 1930, at which time she was informed she had due her cumulative dividends on 40 shares of original stock from June 15th, 1925, but these dividends were never paid her, she charges. November 25th, 1946, her complaint continues. The corporation conveyed its real estate to Mr. Stevens and wife, but there were no meetings of stockholders at any time except one in 1932. Brutal. And Mr. Stevens conducted all affairs of the company without consulting the stockholders, which seems like a no-no.
Yeah, that's frowned on.
The stockholders, she alleges, never consented to the conveyance of the realty, which was the principal asset of the concern. So again, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, this guy would start businesses on like part of a parcel of land and sell off the building and the business, right? That was the business, right? And he maybe kind of swindled some people.
Yeah, I was going to say, this sounds like he was doing some shady financiering.
Yeah, it seems like he forgot he had stockholders. Miss Noyes charges that she seeks to recover for the misconduct of Mr. Stevens and certain directors so that the stockholders be not entirely deprived of their rights. She terms the realty conveyance illegal and asks that it be set aside. She demands that Miss Stevens and the directors give an accounting of the firm's affairs and disclose all contracts, books, and accounts of the corporation. She asks that all corporate proceedings and actions be stayed pending the outcome of her action. So it sounds like the sale of the lumber yard and the mill may not have been above board.
Right.
Who knows? I couldn't find any further, or at least according to this lady, she wasn't consulted or compensated for any of that. And I couldn't find any follow-up. But it was an interesting little thing to uncover here in the history of the cider mill. Some dubious origins.
I was going to say there's some duplicitous activity, I would say.
Indeed. Well, let's wrap it up here with a nice little article coming from 1948 about the Ciatoli operation of the mill. Again, this is Endicott Daily Bulletin, September 28th, 1948. Golden liquid pouring from Ciatoli press. As every upstate New Yorker well knows, when the leaves start to turn and the apples begin falling, it's cider making time. Used to be when apples and fall rolled around that the menfolk who were most interested in cider anyhow hitched up the horses and loaded up the wagon with apples. It didn't take more than a drive to the nearest mill to get the barrels filled with cider, and then the whole thing was just a matter of patience. I think that's alluding to it becoming alcoholic.
I would think so. We are past prohibition, so
it's true. It's true.
Let's
well,
go.
They're talking about olden. I think they're talking about back in the good old days, as it were, pre-prohibition. Greater Endicotters are consuming it right now at the rate of over 1,000 gallons a day. That's the amount of cider that Anthony Ciatoli is producing now at his cider mill. The Ciatoli Mill at Endicott Avenue is one of the few such institutions remaining in the area. Mr. Ciatoli thanks. He operates it with the aid of his sons, Orlando and Anthony Jr., and from September through November, many thousands of gallons of cider are squeezed from under the press. There you go. And although cider mills in the state are now regulated by statute, this one at least retains the air of friendliness and jovialty that probably was so attractive to early cider addicts. By state regulation, cider mills must have running water, a sewage system, must be painted, and must sprinkle oil around the building to keep down dust particles. Those all seem like reasonable things to me.
Yeah.
Seems like perhaps the author of this doesn't agree. Maybe. Most of the Ciatoli's business comes from patrons who bring their own apples, which is it's kind of great. You don't even have to source your own, right?
Nope.
The Ciatoli Mill gives a customer only the juice from his own apples. He knows what he's getting. But he also buys apples for himself and sells cider. Okay. Modern equipment at the Ciatoli establishment makes possible the mass production of cider, but the principle is still the same. The apples are dumped into a hopper in the receiving room, for where they are carried by a conveyor belt to the press room. The grater, where apples are ground, is located directly over a flat car on a truck. The ground apples fall from the grater onto a clean white cloth spread over the flat car. Purpose of the cloth is to keep the pulp in while the juice is squeezed out. Squeezing is very efficiently accomplished with 40 tons of pressure from an electrically operated press. When it's all over, two things remain. First, the cider, and second, the dry pulp, which is called pumice, and which Mr. Ciatoli donates for feeding purposes to anyone who owns pigs.
Thoughtful.
Cool. Not all the Ciatoli customers collect their cider in gallon jugs, however. William H. Schumel, who owns a 250-tree orchard in Vestal, collects his in barrels for retail sale at his farm. He sells about 150 gallons a week, he says, and recommends McIntosh apples for the best cider. Mr. Ciatoli himself considers Northern Spy one of the best apples for cider, and thus authorities differ. One way or the other, it's still good.
Yeah, still gonna hit.
There you go. So yeah, uncovered a little, some origins and at least a little bit of what the operation was like back in the day, which sounds like a pretty, for 1948, pretty modern, a modern operation as far as cider mills go.
Yeah.
Because I feel like anytime I've seen fresh pressed cider, it's someone trying to reenact colonial era cider making. They got the big wooden press and they're just cranking it, and it's like a fun show.
Very not medieval times. What was it like? Williamsburg in Virginia.
Yep.
You can go do colonial shit.
Yeah, I forget the name. There's a colonial village on Staten Island, which sounds terrifying.
I mean, colonial times probably not the best for everybody.
No, I don't think so.
Not substantial part of the population not living the best they could during that time.
No,
during that time,
indeed. And I don't think the best place to investigate that time period would be Staten Island, Jim.
Nah,
I don't think so.
Because, quite frankly, from my experience there, is that they would prefer to be living in colonial.
Sure.
Might really like that.
Indeed. Well, we've gone down many a rabbit hole this episode.
Sure
So it seems like a fitting end. Jim, we have some closing business though. First order of business is to remind you to subscribe, rate, and review this show. Guys, help us out. Again, share an episode with a friend. That does a lot for us as well. 5 stars does it for us. If you can also write some kind words, throw us a suggestion for a future episode. A thank you in advance because you're going to do it. Make it your New Year's resolution to rate and review more podcasts positively.
And especially ours. And I would also offer to that as well, make sure you go buy yourself a t-shirt. You want to go do that. Understandingupstate.printful.me is a place to go get those. And of course, email us, understandingupstate@gmail.com is another place to find us. Yeah, do that. Do it.
Well, do you have any other things to recommend to our Speedy Freaks and Rattlesnake Pete's?
I do. All right. So check this out. You are having just the most upstate day you can think of, right? You've had your fill of Speedies. Mm-hmm. You went and had a Wegman sub. You rounded it off with donuts, cider, cheese. You have ate so much, but it's all been in the name of upstate New York. You even took in a play. You went and enjoyed a play, Cider Mill stage, right? But yet you want more. You want more upstate in your life. So what you do is you go find my album, Upstate Understandings. It is an incredible body of work, if I must say so myself. It's tour de force. It's available at jimsearch.bandcamp.com. And you could also hear it on SiriusXM on the Pure Comedy channel. And, it is absolutely divine work of comedy. And, of course, produced by Rob Adler, art by Adam Russell, filmed by Matt Ely, a real team behind it. You want to go get it. Also, jimsearchcomedy.com is a good place to see shows and things of that nature. I got a bunch of shows coming up in New York City. So come do that next week, and all that fun stuff. Rob, they've bought the album. They went and bought physical copies, which is great. Oh, wow. And they bought some t-shirts as well. So much fashion they've got themselves. Sure. Of. But yet they still have more discretionary income to spend. Where can they do it?
Let's just say you attended a brilliantly localized and modernized version of A Christmas Carol. They're talking about Speedies. You got some donuts at intermission. It was fantastic. Aside from one small thing, you were dismayed to find that the song Thank You Very Much from the 1970 film Scrooge was swapped out. That's the main reason you went to this production. And you decide to console yourself in the sweet melodies of my album called New York Sticky, available at brooklynfrequency.bandcamp.com. It is not a holiday album, but it is a soothing album. It's enjoyable to listen to. It's, you know what? It's great background music. There's no shame in saying it, Jim. Background music is good music, as far as I'm concerned. It's great for doing chores, hanging out. You got friends coming over, throw on New York Sticky. It's great.
I listen to it at the beach.
There you go.
Beach, I listen to it.
It's a great beach album. It's a good hang, no matter what you're doing. So go grab that. I also have it is holiday themed in that it's kind of spooky. I have a little EP that just came out as well called, man, Jim, I can't remember the name of it, but I do remember that it sounds good. So go check it out. Guys, I'm sleep deprived. I have a 4-month-old at this point, so forgive me. Forgive me.
You're forgiven. You're forgiven. Come on now.
Well, forgive me, Jim, but we need to pivot to the next portion, and that's getting a little hint about what next week's episode will be about.
Well, check this out. We are going to be heading to the city that lights and hauls the world.
Oh, interesting. I know what the topic is, but I don't know the origins of those hints. So I'm excited to learn. I'm excited to learn. I'm also excited to finish this episode with our traditional up pun. Are you ready, Jim?
I hope so, man. I hope I am.
Well, Jim, I need to press up some apples to make some cider. So let's get on out of here.
Bye. Understanding Upstate is a podcast hosted by Jim Search and Rob Adler, edited by Rob Adler, and music from Regal Monk.